Two coins. Two stories pressed into metal. By the end of this video, you will not look at the loose change in your drawer the same way. These are not rare pieces locked in museum vaults. These are coins that pass through ordinary hands, sat in ordinary pockets, and were forgotten. That is precisely what makes them worth examining. 5 cents. Most people walk past it. Drop it in a charity jar without a second thought. The 1968 South African 5 cents is that kind of coin, until you read the name on it. That name is Swart, Charles Robert Swart, the first state president of South Africa. During this period, South African coins carried the sitting president's name as a matter of standard practice. Every coin in circulation was, in effect, a dated record of who held office at the time it was struck. In 1968, South Africa was under sustained international pressure. Sanctions were tightening. Diplomatic relationships were deteriorating. The country was increasingly isolated on the world stage. Inside the South African Mint in Pretoria, production continued at a high technical standard. Strike quality, finish, and precision that placed the mint's output alongside the work of major global minting institutions. That same year, South Africa completed a shift in coin composition, moving entirely from silver to nickel across its circulation coinage. The change altered the weight, density, surface reflectivity, and acoustic properties of the coins. It was a permanent transition, and it reframed the entire pre-1968 silver series as a closed chapter in South African monetary history. Millions of 1968 5-cent coins were produced. It most circulated heavily. The coins that have survived in undamaged, high-grade condition over the past 57 years represent a small fraction of the original mintage. In collector terminology, these are called survivors, coins that remained intact despite decades of handling, storage, and attrition. That survival in itself carries market value. A circulated example in average condition trades for a modest sum. A proof-like specimen, full mirror fields, sharp relief, no wear on the high points, has realized prices between $50 and several $100s at graded coin sales, depending on certification. At the top of the grading scale, MS 66 and above, the market is narrower and prices reflect that scarcity directly. A 1968 5 cents with an undisturbed, mirror-like surface and crisp edges is not a common find. The global market for mid-century South African coinage has grown steadily over the past 2 decades, with active collector bases in North America, Europe, and East Asia. Number 2, the 1966 South Africa 50 cents presents a different set of circumstances. Afrikaans legend. King Protea reverse. Uncirculated grade. This coin sits at the intersection of monetary history, political context, and numismatic condition in a way that draws consistent attention from serious collectors. In 1966, the South African rand had been in circulation for 5 years. The currency was still in its formative period, establishing itself as the country's monetary standard. That year, the mint produced the 50 cents in 2 distinct varieties, one with an English legend, one with an Afrikaans legend. And the decision reflected the country's official bilingual policy and the practical reality of serving 2 distinct linguistic communities. For collectors, the consequence is straightforward. A complete set requires both versions, which has sustained demand for each variety independently. The reverse design carries the King Protea, South Africa's national flower. The choice of the Protea, a symbol associated with resilience and diversity, as the central motif of the country's highest circulating denomination during the apartheid era, is a documented historical tension. The coin's design and its political context exist side by side in the historical record, and that layered significance has made it a reference point in both numismatic and historical literature. The uncirculated designation on this coin carries specific meaning. Had this example never entered general circulation, it was not handled as currency, did not pass through commercial transactions, and was preserved from the point of minting. After nearly 60 years, the original mint luster remains intact. In grading terms, that distinction between a circulated and uncirculated example is the primary factor separating a common find from a collectible asset. The convergence of limited surviving supply and high grade, documented historical significance, and sustained collector demand is what the market refers to as a triple threat, three independent value drivers present in the same coin simultaneously. Certified high-grade examples of the 1966 50 cents have realized prices between $100 and over $500 at international auction, with top-tier registry examples commanding the upper range. The collector base extends well beyond South Africa, with buyers active across Europe, North America, and specialist world coin markets globally. Two coins, same country, 2 years apart. One documents a presidency on nickel, surviving through decades of circulation. The other carries a national emblem, preserved in original condition since the day it left the press. Both were struck for general use. Neither was intended as a collectible. The ones that survived intact did so by circumstance, not design. If you have coins from South Africa dating between 1960 and 1970, check the name on the obverse and the flower on the reverse. Post the year in the comments, based on date and visible condition, and it is possible to give an initial assessment of whether the coin merits closer evaluation.